Alright, welcome back to class. In the previous section of this class, we talked about how to create customer profile. We created a couple of customers. I showed you how to delete and edit a customer that you don't want and how to make a customer inactive. That is, customers that are no longer patronizing your business. So in this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at how to set up vendors profile too, just like we did on the vendors on the customers profile. The vendors profile is as important as the customers profile as well. So the vendors profile will actually help us to track our vendors, track how much we're supposed to pay them, which vendor we are supposed to pay, and when we are supposed to pay our vendors. So that is what we are going to be looking at. So like I said, vendors are the people that supply the products or services we render to people, or the goods we sell to final consumers, all right, or whichever our customers are. So what we're going to look at right now, we're going to look at how to add this customer profile, vendors profile I mean. So you can choose to do it from the vendors tab on the dashboard here, or you can come to your menu bar here and click on vendors center. When you click on vendor center, you can see that we have a couple of vendors. We have the Federal Inland Revenue Service as one of our vendors. Those are the vendors we remit taxes to. So this is it. So you can see the transaction we have. The Federal Inland Revenue Service is actually, we have one general journal entry, that's account general journal entry, which is tax. These are tax we paid. So we have VAT we pay this to them. So these are the transactions. So if you want to extract and see their balances, open balances, you click here and see your open balances, or you generate the quick report. See our quick report. So you can see that these are the transactions. This is how the transaction between us and between the City Store Limited and all its vendors. Actually, this is for all vendors. So we have, the only vendor we have currently here is the Federal Inland Revenue Service, which is the one we selected. So we can see that this is the invoice value for the tax we received, and this is how much we collected. This one is the input VAT. This is the input VAT, and finally I think we made payment. So made payment for that. That is why we are not seeing any balance. So that is it. So let's go back and see. This is now in this Saga Limited, Stage Limited, we don't have any transaction. Stage was created earlier on in the explainer video. It was part of the vendors I create and I was telling you about. So if you not see that video, you have to go and listen to that video or watch that video again to understand why we have sales in the system. But either way, we are going to see add a vendor. So if you want to add a vendor, you come to your new, just like the same thing, the same process. That's one thing with accounting applications. Once you're able to understand one process, you can easily say, okay, this is how to do the next. So the same way we added our customers, that's the same way we can add vendors. So if you click on new vendors, you can see the same feature, only that the name has changed from customers to vendor. So here we're going to add a couple of vendors. So let's say we're going to add let's say we are adding Shagamu Ventures PLC. So what I do here is I will just copy it and paste it in the company name, because I use company name instead of personal name, PLC. So you add other details, just like we did there. Add the address of the vendor, you add the phone details, email, and the website. Every other information you have, just add them. Once you're done, you just click OK. So I will pause the video and actually add some couple of vendors, then I'll come back to it and explain to you further. So we have added a couple of vendors. We have added the Seaways Food Limited, we have added the 7-Up Bottling Company, we have added Shagamu Ventures PLC. So let's say these are the vendors we have, but you may have more than these vendors actually. So let's say these are the vendors we have. So we have added them. let's say you don't need a vendor, you mistakenly enter a vendor, or a vendor is no longer working with you. You can just right click the same way. You want to delete, so you right click. You want to delete this, you right click and delete, because there's no transaction in it. That's why you can easily see this. But if there's any transaction in it, once you right click and click delete, it will not be deleted. What you can do then is to make the vendor inactive. So it means that the vendor will no longer appear in your vendors list, just like just as we talked about in the customers list earlier. So that is what we are going to see. So we have been able to add a couple of vendors. So you can see these are the vendors we have been able to add. Now let's say you want to initiate a transaction. You can initiate a transaction right from here. Once you select the vendor, you can initiate a transaction from here. You click on new transaction, you select the type of transaction you want to do for the vendor. Do you want to enter bills you have received from the customer and from the vendor, or you want to pay the vendor the bill for the goods he supplied to you, or you receive an item and you want to enter the bill at once? So sometimes it happens when you receive an item and the invoice is not yet sent to you. It's possible the invoice is not yet sent to you because what you are receiving from your supplier, you're receiving what is called an invoice from your supplier. Then that invoice is a bill to you because you need to pay it. Then the invoice you issue out to your customers are for customers who purchase on credit. Then you also issue invoice to them. So we're going to explain all these things in the next section of the video as we proceed. So that is how to do. You can initiate a transaction right from here, or you can initiate any transaction from the dashboard, from wherever in the QuickBooks you want to, wherever that is associated with that kind of transaction. So we have seen how to add a vendor. We have seen how to add a vendor, and also how to edit and make a vendor inactive in QuickBooks. So that is it. In the next video or in the next class, we're going to look at how to raise sales order. We are now entering into details of what we can use QuickBooks, or the essence of why we need QuickBooks. So we're going to look at how to raise a sales order in QuickBooks. That is what we're going to be looking at in the next section of the video. Please stay tuned and see you in the next video.